Good morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
Today is gonna be that day. Gonna have things go my way. Embroidering fashion that sells. Using all my knowledge, I will excel. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part. I search the web for a magical design, looking high and low as I sip on my wine. Metallic thread, watch it shimmer and shine. I transform my blanks into a one-of-a-kind. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part. Hook it up if you wanna embroider. Got the right tension, got my colors in order. Please no thread breaks, no time for rest. So much to do, I'll give it my best. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. I see people from all over the place joining in, and this is just a wonderful spot here for us to be able to connect and do all kinds of crafting things together. We all share the same passion, and this is the perfect place for us to get together to do this. So let's see who we have out there. I see people from North Central Texas. Good morning, Becky. I see Barbara from Ohio. Good morning. Robin from Maryland. We've got Leslie B from Lake Ridge, Virginia. Good morning. All right, we've got JBL from Alabama. Good morning to you. We've got Jenny from San Antonio, Texas. Good morning, good morning. And I'm not sure if I've missed some from earlier. I may have missed it on the chat, but good morning to you. Hello out there. So I am tuning in from Miami, Florida, and it's hot, it's humid, and it's rainy. And we're getting a lot of that stormy weather. Of course, we are in hurricane season, so it's kind of expected for us here. So for us, it's a great time to kind of stay indoors and do some crafting. So I hope that wherever you are tuning in from, you have some decent weather, or maybe you can just spend some time in your craft room as well. Good morning, Marlene. Good morning. All righty. Yes. Okay. So It is Tuesday, guys, and we're ready for another day of crafting. So let's go ahead and raise our mugs. If you are new to the channel, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and we like to start off our days with our little crafting toast, right? If you're part of our little club here, just go ahead and raise your glasses here. And we'll start off with a cup of whatever it is that you have in the morning. No judgment here. Coffee, tea, soda, water. It doesn't matter. I've got some ice water because, well, you know, I'm in Miami. So if you don't have a cup, don't worry. I'll pour you one. Go ahead and raise your glass. And here's to another wonderful day. So I'm going to take my little swivel here. Okay, yes, needed that this morning. Water, 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 right? We need to stay healthy. Always have to have that little cup of water. Alrighty, good morning. I see my sisters on Boricua Sewing and Crafts, and yes, we are excited about attending the Sewing and Quilting Expo. That is coming up pretty soon in a couple of weeks here, and I'll be flying over to Virginia with my mom, and she'll be attending her very first expo. So I'm really excited about that. She's never been to an expo before. She is a big-time crocheter, and she's learned everything by sight. No teaching, no books, things like that. She just looks and learns and gets with other crafters and learns to do all kinds of things. Right now, she's working on her next project now. I showed you her last one. She's already started her next project, and she's got a little granny squares going. She is making a little purse with her neighbors. So it's a lot of fun. She's pulling all that together, and those two crafters have gotten together and are learning together to make a purse. My mom's never made a purse before. She's always made lots of dollies and bedspreads and other things. So this is the first time she's making a purse. So we'll see how it comes out, but it's looking pretty good so far. Okay, so you guys, are we ready for our snacks? Because we've got our drinks, they're all ready to go. And I think we're going to do our food cart today. So let's get our little exercise in. Give yourself a nice little stretch and ready to go. Little movement there. We've got to get that exercise in there. And don't worry, the stand has everything that you want. Coffee, tea, soda, muffins. We've even got pancakes in there because, you know, everybody likes pancakes every once in a while, right? But if you want your bacon and eggs, we have that too. And we have carrots and kale for those healthy people that are out there. Don't forget those. Oh, Lisa says your mom is amazing. So glad she is well and able to go to the expo with you. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, it was a little touch and go there for a while, but she pulled through. Her asthma is just horrible at this time of the year with all the stormy weather. But she's got it under control now. She's back to her old self and going all over the place. So yeah, she's got her little appointment today for her eyes. So she wants to make sure her eyes are nice and clear so she can see what she's doing for the expo. So yes. Oh, Robin's Quilt Basket, you're going to get your muffin. Awesome. Okay. Oh, Marge says, I loved a crochet purse. Yeah, Marge, they've got some really pretty ones out there, and it's going to be exciting to see what she comes up with. They're not following any specific pattern. They're kind of doing this as a neighbor is kind of guiding her as to some that she kind of knows, like she may have done some before, so she's kind of guiding her. She's told her how many granny squares she needs to make, so she is off, and she is making all those granny squares. So we will see. Some of them are teeny tiny too. It's kind of fun to watch. So we'll see what happens with that. Alrighty. Good morning out there. I see a few more people joining in. Alrighty. Oh, Cindy, I was wondering why you drink ice water. I thought maybe it has health benefits. Well, I add the ice just because I'm in Miami and it is hot. And I like to keep it nice and cool while I'm doing things and setting things up. But yeah, water for me, I like to have first thing in the morning. It's really good to kind of cleanse it. It's a nice little health benefit to drink the first thing that you have in the morning is a nice cup of water. So yeah, so it's always good to first have my cup of water, then you can have whatever you want. But it's just a great way to do that. Okay, so let's see here. We've got a few things to tackle today. We've got our snacks, we've got our drinks. I hope you're in your cozy spot or in a safe place to watch. So what we have here now is a couple of things that we've been working on, and these are fabric markers. So we talked about yesterday the design of the fabric marker, and we were talking about making our own fabric markers. So we have some here that we've done out of wood chips, and you can see the back where we put the little felt, and then you can see the front where it has the little embroidery on there. I went ahead and embroidered some of the letters. So we talked about how to do this in Embrilliance. So we've gone ahead and we've done those, and then I went ahead and stitched them out, and here is the felt sheet. So again, I am using, and let me grab some of the materials here because I got one more thing extra to show you. I'm using fabric sheets, and they're very, very thin. Okay, I'm sorry, not fabric sheets, felt sheets. And they're very, very thin. And you don't want to get the thick ones because, one, you don't want to gum up your needle, because mine has adhesive on the back, but you don't have to have the ones with adhesive on the back. I am simply using these with the adhesive on the back just to make the process a little bit faster for me. But if you just have plain felt in your scrap bin somewhere, you can totally use that, right? So we just got this, and this I ordered off of Amazon, and this is where I went ahead and I put this felt sheet onto my hoop. And I've got a hoop back here because I was going to do another set later today. So I just hooped it on, very simply just hooped it. I did not float it. I went ahead and hooped it on to my hoop there. And so I've got the felt sheet on here, hooped on, ready to go for just another set of letters. And we already designed this in Brilliance, and you'll notice that I've kind of moved them. They're not in any particular order. I just kind of sporadically threw the letters on here, and I kind of moved them over so they are not too close to each other. Although this one, I wish I would have moved a little bit further down, but that's okay. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this sheet and we're gonna put it in our scan and cut, and we're gonna cut the pieces out and assemble them to our blank wood chips right here. Okay, so we're gonna have the bottom that we're gonna be cutting out, and then we're also going to have this one right here, which are the letters up on the top. Now, remember that when we did these in Brilliance, the circle size that we did was about 1.5 inches, okay? That is the size that I chose to do for my circle because I am using a 2-inch wood block. Now, depending if you're gonna go with a 2-inch, you can. Now, one thing that you can do is you'll notice my wood chip block is 2 inches, okay? My felt with the circle around it, the design itself in Brilliance is 1.5 inches. You can see I have a nice gap in between my felt and my wood block. I chose to do it that way because I wanted a little bit of the wood to kind of show. You don't have to do it that way. You can cover the entire block if you want to, right? So if your wood block or wood chip is 2 inches and this design is 1.5 inch, you can see how much space you have in between to redesign in Brilliance. You can make this a little bit larger and bring it up to the edge if you want. Of course, you want to be under 2 inches. So anything under the 2-inch mark will cover that wood chip completely, okay? You're just trying to make sure you kind of get the look that you want. I wanted some wood to show, so I kept it at 1.5 inch, and you can see the little wood around it. Or you can spread it out and make it a little bit bigger if you want to cover the entire thing. Maybe you're using poker chips or something like that and you don't want the top to show. So you can play with that sizing in Brilliance to get it to the size that you want. Now, just keep in mind that you will need to add just a tad more of some space so that the scan and cut can cut around that embroidery, right? Because we saw what happened. I showed you guys that yesterday when I cut my circle, it ended up cutting into the circle that was embroidered on here. So what I ended up doing is I ended up cutting the whole thing off, the whole circle. I just cut it off and I left it like this. So no circle around it, just simply the letter. And you can do that too. You don't have to do the circle, or if you're doing a square, it's totally up to you. You can just make the letter if you want. But I ended up just cutting it this way. And this was another little idea that you could do if you did not want to do the wood chips. Then you can do just something like this, where you can purchase a bag of these that's just going to have all of the chains and the little links for you to be able to just kind of link this on to a clip. So you can use your fabric clips here. Some people have the bigger ones, and maybe you have multiple layers of fabric that you want to clip together. You can do that, and then what you can do is just put a bunch of these onto the chain, and then just take these and clip them when you're ready, and you clip them onto your fabric. And so then this will all be together, and you'll be able to tell which piece is going to go with what for the little design that you are working on. So let's see, any questions here? Oh, Cindy said, did you hoop a stabilizer with the felt, or is the paper backing acting like a stabilizer? It is, Cindy. So because I am using the felt with the adhesive, it already has the paper on here. So the paper is serving as my stabilizer. I am not adding anything additional. Now, if you are just using felt with no adhesive on it, then I would recommend that you do put a stabilizer in the back. That way the felt doesn't shift around and move. You need something to be able to stabilize it together. You could use tearaway, that's totally fine for this type of project. So that's something that you can do, you know, depending on the type of felt that you're using. You know, if it has no adhesive behind it, you need some kind of a stabilization for the stitches. Otherwise, if you're using some type of one with an adhesive, again, I'd recommend that it be very, very thin, and you can see how thin mine is. Very, very thin. So it's not going to gum up my needle. Do not get one that is thick, because that can gum up your needle on there. But make sure it's nice and thin, and the paper is serving as the stabilizer on the back. And you can see how the stitches kind of came out there. Okay? Okay. So that is one option. Now, we talked about the different options, right? We talked about the chip. We talked about using your fabric clips, whether they be the big ones or the small ones. We also talked about the laundry ones that you can use, right? These are the bigger ones that have these little straps. Now, these I kind of intended to use them as I starch my fabrics. And so I have my little hangers that hang, but I want to also label them as I starch them, and I kind of hang them to dry. So this is a great way to kind of do that and label them, so that when I take them off and then get ready to iron them, I don't mix up, you know, what color is what. So this is another use that you can have for these. These have a longer loop, and I'll show you one of them here. Okay, this is what they look like, and you just kind of unclip it, and you can see here you've got the nice long loop here, and all you have to do is just unloop it here, and then you would just loop in let's just take this one. I can just loop this in here and then loop this through. And now it's got the fabric marker ready to go, and all I have to do is clip this on to the fabric. So these I wanted to get just for when I starch. It's just another option, right? Because my fabrics will pretty much be wet, so I wanted to use these for that. And this is just my way of a low budget way to be able to mark your fabrics as you're working through your projects, right? So one more thing that you can get, and then again, this one is from Amazon. It comes in a big pack, so you can get a whole bunch of these. If you don't have a scan and cut or an embroidery machine, and you're looking for a way to kind of just mark your fabrics as well, this is another option that you have where you can just get some of these little tags here. And these are, let me see, they're called key label tags. And there's for keys. Normally, you know, you would just write, and you can take a Sharpie or a pen and just write that on here. And then you can kind of save these, and you can use your little clippies here to kind of add this to it and then clip it to your fabric. So just another idea for those that don't have an embroidery machine, or maybe they don't want to get wood chips or anything like that, and they want something a lot more simple. These are just some other options that you have to be able to mark your fabrics and not spend a lot of money. So these are just ideas I wanted to throw out there for you guys so that you have that. Okay, so let me move some of this stuff over to the side and kind of clear my work area a little bit. And let me leave this one out. Okay. And I went ahead and I'm using one of these little bags from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just putting all of my wood chips in here. So just another way if you want to store it, looking to how you're going to store this. Here's another option. Someone in our Facebook group also put a nice idea. They went to Walmart and they got one of those plastic trays like for jewelry making in that craft area, but like the jewelry making area. And they have a little plastic storage container where you can put all the little felt pieces. Now she made them in squares, and so she was able to kind of put them and organize them in a case. So that's another way that you can kind of store them. I have them in the little baggie here. You can do the little plastic case, whatever is easier for you to get. The idea is that so you don't have to spend a lot of money on fabric markers, and just have a nice place that you can store it and reuse them over and over again. Okay, awesome. Let me just check one more time. Any more questions? So I think we are good. Okay, so that's what we're going to be working on today. And let's kind of go into, because I kind of skipped over a little bit of the crafting news. So I just want to give you just one story on the crafting news, and then we're going to head over to our scan and cut to get some of these things cut out. Okay, so for our crafting news, we're going to head over to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, because we have something that's going on tomorrow. It's the Quilt Week show that's going to be going on from September the 10th, starting tomorrow through Saturday the 13th. And this is one of the biggest quilting celebrations in the country. It's packed with inspiration, award-winning contest quilts, special editions from around the world, and a huge vendor mall. Can you believe that? They've got classes and lectures and some of the top names in quilting, of course. So whether you're a beginner or if you're a seasoned stitcher, they're going to have things for everyone. So the hours is going to be Wednesday through Friday, September 10th through the 12th from 9 to 5, Saturday, September the 13th from 9 to 4. Admission is $12 for members and $15 for non-members. You've got 2-day passes, and multi-day passes are also available. Kids 12 and under get in for free with an adult, and teens 13 through 18 years old are just $5. $5. And they also have military guests that get $2 off at the door with an ID. So this is really nice because they're going to have, of course, the latest fabrics, machines, notions. They've got vendor aisles there. And since Lancaster sits in the heart of Pennsylvania Dutch country, you're going to be surrounded by a community with deep quilting traditions, which is pretty cool. This is definitely, you know, you don't want to miss this event because this one sounds really good. But if you want more details, check out the American Quilters Society website and just make sure you mark that on your calendar and get going there. Okay, so that's the story that I wanted to kind of give you guys today. Again, of course, I'm going to the Sewing and Quilting Expo. So if you're going to be there, let me know because I would really love to meet you guys there. We're going to kind of get together and have some dinner after if you can join us. So that would be a lot of fun. And that's going to happen in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's September 25th, 26th, and 27th. At the Sewing and Quilting Expo. So lots and lots of fun there. We'll be taking some classes with my mom. It's the first time she's ever taken a class. So I think she's going to be in for a real treat. And I don't know if we're going to get a lot of stitching done, but we're sure going to have some fun. I hope you guys can join. Okay, so we'll put that over to the side, minus my little card with my notes. And let's get going. Okay, so we've already stitched this out on our embroidery machine. This is how we hooped it. We put the file in and we've got our result. So I'm going to set this over to the side here. And actually, let me put it behind me this way. I don't want it to fall. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab my mat. Now, this can be a little controversial, okay? So one of the things about the Scan and Cuts mats is that you do not want to put paper down on the mat because you can ruin your mat. So if you are using the fabric, the felt with the adhesive on it, one thing that we want to do is I want to be able to see all of my markings here. And I want to position the circle that it's going to cut and make sure that it's just outside of that embroidery line, right? So we're going to have to scan the mat to see where these are positioned. And then we're going to place the circle that it's going to cut just on top of these, making sure that the outside line is right outside that embroidery area so it does not ruin the actual stitching that's on there. However, in order to do that, you need to have this face up. And so the adhesive is going to be face down. So a couple options you can do. You can use a mat that is for paper, right? And so it won't have a lot of stickiness to it. Well, I have this fabric mat and I have used this fabric mat so much that it barely has any stickiness to it, right? The stickiness is hardly not there. I mean, it's very, very light. So I am going to go ahead and position this with the paper or adhesive side down. I would only do this if your fabric mat is not very sticky, okay? You don't want to have this paper because this will stick and you'll have a hard time getting it out. Now, I have one solid piece, so I'm okay with kind of risking this because I've done it before and it's not too bad when I did the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and do it. But if you have the other mat that's for paper, you can put it on that one instead. But I'm going to go ahead and just use this one because, like I said, this one is just about had it. And I've cleaned it several times and I brought back the stickiness several times. So it's kind of at the point that it's going to need another cleaning and it's going to need another spray to kind of revive the stickiness. But before I do all of that, I'm going to go ahead and just use it for this project here. Now you can use a little bit of painter's tape to kind of hold it down just to make sure it doesn't shift. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab some of that and just put a couple pieces, not too much, just to kind of hold it down. So this is the first part, and this is just for the front, right? So the front, this is what I'm cutting out. We're then going to use this same sheet. I'm going to go ahead and use it and do the back. So the back of the wood chips is just the simple circle here. It is just a different size because, as you can see on here, I covered the entire wood chip on the back. And so it's a different size altogether. So I'll share with you the sizes that I use here. So that's pretty much about all I have to do to prep it. I think it's fine the way it is. So let's head over to our scan and cut and get going with this. So here we go. Going to go ahead and wake it up here. Oh, I didn't turn it on. I thought I did. Oh, there we go. Okay. Alrighty. So the first thing we want to do is we want to head over to our pattern section, and let me just grab my little pen here. Okay, so we're going to go to pattern and we're going to head over to the shapes. Now the fun thing with this, if you're going to do squares or circles, you've got several designs that you can choose from that have nice little edges. So if you didn't want to do just a basic circle, you can definitely pick some of those as well. And you can see here you have lots of options. We're going to go with this circle, but if you scroll down a little bit more, you can have some circles with some edges on it. That'll make it really cute as well. But I'm going to just go with the simple circle here, because I've already got the embroidery on there. So if you wanted to just embroider the letter and then do the shape of the circle to be a little bit different, you can do that. That would be really cute as well. But let's go with just the simple circle here. And this is where the screen where you're gonna set your size. Now for the front, I'm gonna be bringing mine, since I have a 2-inch wood chip, I'm going to be bringing mine down, and you can see here as I do this, I'm going to be bringing it down to about 1.55. That is the size that I use. So let's bring it down to that. And you'll notice that as I'm going down, it doesn't matter if I do the height or if I do the width. It's bringing both the height and the width down to the same. So the scan and cut already knows that this is a circle, and you can't just change the height or change the width. You want to be able to change the whole thing to keep it uniform, and it knows that. So it's already just bringing down that size for you. And so you notice that the height and the width are coming down at the same time. Now, looking at our fabric, felt that we're going to be cutting here, we already know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circles on here. So I know I'm going to need 8 different circles. So I want to tell my scan and cut to cut 8 of those, not just 1. And so you can do that right here where it says the number 1. You can bring that up to 8. And it'll set it up to 8. And then you go ahead and hit set. Now you see we have 8 circles all lined up on the top. Obviously, that's not where our circles are located on our mat. So this is one of the beauties about the scan and cut, and this is what I think really makes it worth the money on here, is you have the ability to scan your mat. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and place my mat in the machine. Of course, you've got the little arrow facing your machine. You want to make sure that you do bring in, whoop, where do I have it? Right here. Here's that little arrow. Make sure that's facing the machine on here. And then we're going to load the mat. So you hit the little load button off to the side here. I've got a little bit of lift there. So actually, I'm going to grab a little piece of tape, just because my mat, like I said, it's barely sticky, all right? It barely has any stickiness to it. So I see one corner kind of lifting, and I'm just going to grab this little piece of tape and just kind of tape that down, because I don't want it to get in the way. I want it to kind of stay down. Okay, so now that I've got that in place and I've loaded the mat, I want to go ahead and scan it because I want to see where these pieces are on my mat, right? So let's go ahead and hit that scan button, and we're going to go ahead and hit start, and it's going to pull the mat in, and it's going to basically take a picture. Now, this is an error, not an error, but this is telling you here, stop scanning, set the scanner level to position number 2. So it depends on the material. So it says when scanning a thicker material, such as felt and foam, that's the position that you need to be on. So on the side of the machine, there is a lever. There's lever 1 and level 2. All this is telling you is, hey, change this to level 2 because it looks like I am about to scan some felt. So I'm going to need a little bit more wiggle room. And so you go ahead and shift that level up to level 2 and then go ahead and hit the OK button. And it's going to do some movement. And then you're just going to hit that start button again. And off it goes, off to the races. And so now it's going to take that picture for you, and it's going to see exactly what it is that you have on the mat. And so now what we're going to do once it's done, it's going to show me the picture of what it scanned, and I'm going to take the circles that it's created and I'm going to line them up right on top. And this is where the little zoom feature is going to come in pretty handy here. So as you can see here, we've got our picture, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each of these circles and kind of drag them on top. But hey, I can't really see if that's really there. So I'm going to go ahead and edit. And what I want to do is click on this little magnifying glass and I want to zoom into there. And so that gives you a much closer shot. And you can see the circle is off to the side. So I want to be able to bring it right into that area. Now I can use my little arrow keys here and it'll move it over for me. And maybe I want to move that down a little bit, maybe a little bit more over, you know, or you can use your little pen here to move it. Sometimes it really depends what you want to do. Do you want to zoom in a little bit more? You can, right? And then you can kind of move this way. Maybe I need to move this down so I can see. And then you can kind of move the actual object. So these arrows here and these arrows here are going to move the actual mat itself so that you can see. And then these arrows up on the top are actually moving the selected circle, right? The item that you want to cut. And so I may just move just a little bit more. And I think that pretty much gets my circle, and I'm going to just move a tad this way as well. That is pretty much going to cut my circle exactly the way I want it. And so I can just go ahead and hit OK. And then I can do that for each one of these, right? So let's go ahead and drag another circle down. And let's bring it over off to the side a little bit. And let's see what that looks like. You can see here, see how this red box is what is really surrounding your selected item. So it's the circle now. Again, I can use my little stylus pen here to drag it around. And you can only get so far when you're using the pen, right? So you can just use the little arrows. And that will kind of position it right where you want it. Now, let's say you are not too happy about it. Maybe you want it to be a little bit wider, a little bit further away from your stitching line. Then you can go back and you can change the size, right? So you can go hit OK, you can go back to Object Edit, and maybe you want to resize it. And maybe you want it to be a little bit wider. So maybe let's do 57, 58. We can do that and hit OK. And then OK again. and it brings you back to this spot. So if you want to, again, hit the magnifying glass, you can see here it's a little bit outside that embroidery line, which I think looks a little bit better. So let's go ahead and hit OK again. And we can just go to the next one and kind of do the same thing. Object edit, resize. Let's bring that up a little bit and hit OK. And OK. And then let's look at it again with the magnifying glass. And maybe we need to see it a little bit more closer. Just hit that little plus sign and then move your mat to where you want to see it. And so here's the circle right outside that embroidery. I think that's going to be great. Maybe just move it down just a nudge here. And I think that works out perfect. And then I'll just hit OK. So I'm going to do some experimenting here. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change this object edit and resize it one more time. I'm going to do 2 different sizes. Let's do 160. And hit OK. And I'm going to just take a look at that again. And we'll zoom into it. And move the mat down. And you can see there, let's see, I'm going to just nudge it a little bit more. And I think that looks good. It's right outside, so your cut's going to be very close to that stitching line. So I just want to leave just a nudge of a little bit of space so it doesn't cut my stitches. Okay, let's see. Cindy's asking, can you hook up a mouse to a scan and cut? No, you cannot, Cindy. You cannot. But these controls right here pretty much mimic your mouse, right? Again, these are controlling you to be able, just as if you had a mouse, this is what's controlling it, you know, and you're able to kind of scoot over this way. And then this is just as if you were moving your mouse up and down, or on the bottom here, if you were moving it side to side, right? So this is side to side. This would be up and down. And then these are the little clicks that you would do on the mouse to kind of move them over just that tad, right? So you can just actually move it just a little bit. So let's go back here. I'm just going to do this one more time because I want you guys to really understand this. Select your object, hit Object Edit, resize, and change your height width by hitting either one of them. Because this is a circle, it will change either one. So let's add a couple more on here. Let's make it 160. Let's hit OK. Then OK again. Then we really want to take a deep look to see if it lines up and if it's okay. Hit that magnifying glass. If that's still too far away for you, go ahead and hit the plus sign again. And then just move the mat like you were moving your mouse. Just move it down so you can see it. And you can even move it over if you like. And you can see that little line where the cut is. If you want to nudge it just a tad, you can, just hitting the buttons up on the top. And so I think this is good right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And I think that one is good. And I think this one is good here. And so here we have another one here. Object Edit, resize. Let's see what we've got. Oh, we are at 160. Let's do, I just want to give you different items that you can see. So here's just a little bit more. And again, if I want to zoom in some more, I can move my mat down a little bit and just have fun with this and play with the buttons, right? We want to see what we're doing here, and I want to nudge this just a tad here. And maybe just one more time. I think that lines it up pretty well. And then I'm going to hit OK. Then you can just keep going for the other circles. Just click on it and drag it, right? Get it as close as you can, and then hit the magnifying glass. And go ahead and zoom in and see what you have here. Maybe you want to bring this down some further. You want to see what you have. Remember, that little red box is showing you exactly what you need to see, right? Scoot this over some more. There we go. And I'm going to nudge this just a little bit here. Maybe one more. And I think that is good to go. Okay, so I'm just going to go with these three. I'm going to go ahead and delete the others just so we can save ourselves some time. And I can cut those out later. So this one here I'm going to delete as well. So we're only going to cut out a couple of them, because we do want to have time. Oops, sorry. We do want to have time to be able to cut the back. So let's see here. We'll go ahead and delete this one, and we'll delete this one here as well. Okay, so I think we're good. We're going to cut those 3 circles out, and we're just going to say okay. And then we got to tell it what to do. Here's the 3 circles. All the other ones we went ahead and deleted. We can do please select, go ahead and cut. That's what we want you to do. And then I have my rotary blade attached to my scan and cut. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And so the scan and cut is going to pull the mat in. It's going to check the level that it needs to cut. And then it's going to go ahead and start cutting those 3 circles that we've outlined. And so this is going to go pretty quickly. And as it does that, we'll be getting ready to do our second part, which is to cut out the back circle here. And so it's already finished. Go ahead and hit the OK button. Now remember, if you don't have a scan and cut, you can also just cut this out by hand. This just makes it a little bit easier. So these are already cut out, and I'm going to go ahead and release the mat. And I kind of have to remember which ones we did. And let me just pull. I'm not going to take it off completely, because I want to put this back in for us to be able to cut the back. So I'm just going to pull out. And you can see as I pull up the sheet here, let me just kind of get to the middle so you guys can see. So I'm pulling my tape back here. You can see here, it's already cut out the 3. You can see that it's got a perfect cut here. So I'm just going to hold this here while I pull these out. Let me just move this plastic. I think it's in the way here. Okay. And so I'm going to pull these out here. And they come off pretty easy because, like I said, my mat is not very sticky. And then I'm going to put these right back down, and I'm going to redo my tape. Now, if I would have done the whole thing, I still would have done the same thing. I'm only taking the circles out because I'm getting the most use out of my felt, right? We're getting the best bang for our buck here. So we're going to try to now cut out the back pieces of the wood chip, which is a different size circle here. So this one covers the entire wood chip. And this is what's going to be on the back between the felt and the fabric. And so I want the most felt I can get on the back so that it will stay put with my fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I'm going to bring this back to my scan and cut, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit home. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because I'll come back and cut those later. And then I'm going to go ahead and feed my mat. Make sure my tape is nice and secure. That's what's going to load my mat. And I'm going to go back to pattern. And here's my little stylus pen. I'm going to go back to my shapes. And I'm going to go back to that circle again and select the circle. And now the size is going to be a little bit different because remember, we've got a 2-inch circle. So in the front of the wood chip, we have just put our embroidered item, but we wanted to keep a little bit of the wood showing. So it is less than 2 inches, right? We kind of stayed under the 2-inch line, right? So we have that little bit of wood showing. And again, you can play with that size to determine what size you want to have for your wood chip. Now, just one word of caution, you know, whatever design you have around your letter. If you decide to do a circle or a square with a little design around it, just make sure that your cutting circle is outside of that line. Otherwise, you're going to cut into your stitches. Okay, so just make sure that you do that when you are working on your scan and cut to cut these out. So I know my wood chip is 2 inches and I want to go just under that because I want to cover the entire wood chip, right? And so we want to cover the entire back like we did here versus having to do only just a piece of it and having the wood showing. All right, so now we'll go back to our scan and cut and we're going to go ahead and we're going to set our size. And so I decided to go with, since I have a 2-inch wood chip, I'm going to go ahead and cut this and bring this down to about 1.90. That's going to give me just enough to cover the entire chip and really not have any wood showing. So that's what kind of works for me. Again, just work with whatever material you have, make sure you know their sizing and just kind of play with it, right? And so I'm going to need 3 of those because we cut out 3. So I'm going to set these to 3. And I'm going to go ahead and hit set. Now I'm going to want to scan my mat again. Well, why do you have to scan your mat again? Well, because we've cut 3 things out and we've got some embroidery on there. And I want to use up the pieces of felt that are still kind of blank. And so I want to get the most out of my felt. So I'm going to go ahead, rescan it, and then I'm going to figure out where can I put these circles that I can get the best bang for my buck on here. So this is that money button, right? So now you're going to take your circle. I already know my size, and I'm just simply going to drag it where I can, where it's blank. And you can get it as close as possible. And let's drag this other one. We can put it right about here. We can fit another one here. See that? So you've got all of these here that you can use, all of this space. You can cut a couple more circles on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to tell it, yeah, go ahead and cut these out for me. And once again, we're going to go ahead and hit start. It's going to drag that mat right back in with this little piece of tape. There we go. It's going. My little pieces of painter's tape were popping up, so I just wanted to get those back in. And now it's going in there and it's cutting away and it's making those circles for me. And so when it's done, we're going to be able to assemble this all together. And it just takes a minute. See, it's already done. That was really quick. So let's go ahead and hit OK, and we're going to unload our mat here. Let's put my little stylus back away, and I'm going to head back on over. Whoops, I dropped my little plastic cover. I'm going to stick that right over there. And now I'm going to kind of go back here, and I'm going to remove my felt from my mat here. And you can see here you've got, because I've got the one big piece, I don't really have issues with the stickiness here. So I'm going to go ahead now and just remove my other circles. Now you just have to kind of grab really thick. You're going to see when you first try to pull, it's going to pull and leave the paper. That's why I'm really cautioning you guys, if you're using, you know, a fabric mat, make sure it doesn't have a lot of stickiness to it. And then all I got to do is kind of go in here a little bit and pull it, and then it'll come right back up. But if your mat is super sticky, do not use your fabric mat. Use just a regular paper one that you use to cut out your paper with. And then same thing here. Just go ahead and take them out and just pull them off all together. Whoops. My little plastic piece just keeps wanting to fall to the floor. Okay, let's just go with this one for right now. So I've got my little wood chip, right? And I'm just going to peel off the backing. And now it's nice and sticky on this side. And I'm just going to put it on the back of my wood chip. Line it up as best as you can. And there you go. Yeah, you could use the spatula. Absolutely, Connie. I've got the little spatula here. You can use that to kind of get them off. Absolutely. That does help. Kind of pull them up. Here you go. And sometimes I'll get just that little bit, and that's what I'll have to play with to kind of pull out. But you can pull them off here. There you go. And so we've gotten them all off. So just that word of caution, you know, on your mats. It depends how sticky they are. You don't want to put the paper because you can ruin your mats on there. If they're brand new and they have a lot of stickiness, you do not want to put paper on your mat. But since mine doesn't have hardly any sticky at all, that's why I'm able to kind of get away with this. Otherwise, use the mat that is for paper. Okay. And the only reason why you have to kind of do it this way is because you want to be able to see the embroidery. And so you can line up the circles to know exactly where you want to cut. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Another way, you can do it the reversed way, right? So you can go to your scan and cut and have it cut out the circles, and then take that to your embroidery machine. And you can use sticky stabilizer, right? That sticky back stabilizer, you can hoop that and put the circles onto your machine. If you have a little camera, you can line up your machine to tell it where to start to do the digitizing and to do the letters, right? So you can also do it the reverse way. So if that's a big concern, you can cut out your circles and kind of do it that way. But you have to be able to line it up with your embroidery machine. Those of you who have cameras, it's a lot easier to do if you don't have a camera. It can be a little bit difficult, but it can be done. Just hitting the little plus needle sign and just lining it up that way. So anyway, we've got our little backing all on our chip here. And now I'm just going to turn it around. And I'm just going to take off the adhesive on the back of another one. We're going to do the letter F on this one. So I'm going to peel all of the little pieces off and expose that stickiness here. And then I'm just going to line it up in the middle of the circle and put that down. And so I have a little thread here that I can cut off. A little piece of the jump thread that I didn't get out. Just cut it off that way. And there you go. You've got your little wood chip, right? So here's what it looks like. Here's the front, and then here's the back. And so we've got our little wood chip. And so you'll continue to do this for the rest of the alphabet. And then you can do letters, you can do numbers. And like we said yesterday, you can do so many different games and things like that that you could do for the kids. So pretty cool. Okay, we're about at the end of our hour, so we're going to jump over to our inspirational quote of the day. Okay, for today's quote of the day is, "A piece of fabric is just the beginning. What you create and how you create is completely up to you." And that's what we all love about crafting, is that freedom to have the choice to do anything that you want with any kind of materials. You are the owner of your creativity. You can be as creative as you want to with your items. And I hope that I've inspired you to do something just a little bit different today. That's what I like to do, is just bring all kinds of ideas to the table to get you guys thinking and moving and creating all kinds of things. So if you decide to make this or any other projects, go ahead and put it in our Facebook group, because we would love to see them. Now, Mr. H has to take my mom over to the eye doctor so she can get her eyes all checked out. So we have to run, but thank you guys all for all of your support. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you like the material, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you again. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friend. craft once again.